Hello everyone, I'm Priyanka Bish from Arden Progressive School. Today in this session, we'll be continuing with the topic of first chapter, which is nature and significance of management. As in the previous session, we have discussed about the concept of management, features of management and functions of management. So in this session, we'll be discussing about the further topics. Here it goes.
We'll be covering these topics in today's session, and the topics are importance of management, objectives of management, and nature of management as art, science, and profession. So let's begin with the first topic, which is importance of management. As in the previous session, we have already discussed about the term management, also the features and characteristics of management. So here we'll be discussing some importance of management. First importance is management helps in achieving group goals. See, as we know, every individual working in an organization has their different goal. So managers or management basically tries to integrate the objectives of individuals along with the organizational goal. So here we can say that management is required not for itself but for achieving the goals of the organization. Management basically directs the efforts of all the individuals in the common direction of achieving organizational goal. Second importance is management increases efficiency. We have discussed this term efficiency in the previous lecture. Efficiency means completing the task with minimum cost and minimum resources. So here the aim of a manager is to reduce the cost and increase the productivity through better planning, organizing, directing, staffing, and controlling the activities of the organization. Now, next is management creates a dynamic organization. So, the word dynamic here means which keeps on changing. So, as we know, business is always dynamic. So, organizations have to survive in dynamic environment, and for this, managers keep making changes in the organization to match the environmental changes. So, we can say here that management helps people adapt to the changes so that the organization is able to maintain its competitive edge. So basically, as we know, the employees in the organization are generally resistant to change. So efficient management motivates the employees by convincing them that the change is not only beneficial for the organization, but it also improves the employees' work in the competitive world. So by this, we can say management creates a dynamic organization. Next is management helps in achieving personal objectives. See, as we know, the employees or the individuals who are working in an organization, they work towards a common goal only, but the individual goals are different. As we can say, employee will be having a different goal and organization will be having a different goal. Individuals or employees, they wants to earn more and the organization wants maximum production. So here employees can earn more by producing more, and this will fulfill the objectives of both the groups, employee group also and organization group also. So with this, we can say a manager motivates his team in such a manner that the individuals attain both personal and organizational goal. Here is the last importance of management, which is management helps in the development of society. See, efficient management has always multiple objectives. They give importance to social obligations towards different groups of people such as employees, customers, suppliers, etc. So we can say that management helps in the development of society by providing good quality products and also by creating employment opportunities and leading the path towards growth and development, and it also adopts the new technology for the greater good of the people. So by this we can say management helps in the development of society. Here on the business motive should not only be profit earning, but business must have some responsibilities towards the societies also, and these responsibilities can be fulfilled by providing them good quality products, better employment opportunities, and also the growth and development of the nation. Now, next we have objectives of management. So, as we know, efficient management have multiple objectives, and all the managerial objectives of the organization can be classified into three major categories. These are: first is organizational objectives. So, in organizational objective, management is responsible for setting and achieving the objectives of the organization. Second is social objective. So, in social objective, the management is responsible for creating the benefit for society. And third is personal objective. So, personal objective is basically related to the individual's objectives of the organization. So these are the three major categories of the objectives of efficient management, and we'll be learning about these objectives in detail. Now, first category we have organizational objectives. So as we know, organizational objectives are the objectives which aims at prosperity and growth of the organization. Generally, it is assumed that the profit maximization is the main objective of every organization, but it's not true. Managers try to develop and attain variety of objectives in all the management areas. So basically here there are three important organizational objectives of manager. First is survival. Now, the basic purpose of every organization is to survive and exist in a competitive market for a long period of time. And it is only possible when the organization is making more profit and also when it is able to cover its cost. Second is profit. Now, the most important objective of every organization is earning maximum amount of profit. Profit is essential for survival, growth, and also expansion of business. And profit is also considered as reward given to businessman for bearing risk. Third important point is growth. Now, as we know, every business organization must grow and expand their activities, and success of every organization is measured by the growth rate. And now how this growth rate is measured? This growth rate is measured in terms of sales, number of branches, number of products, and number of employees. So these were the three main points under organizational objectives. Now, next category we have social objectives. So social objectives of the organizations, it deal with the commitment of the organization towards the society. That means organizations have made some commitment with the society which the organization has to fulfill, because business organization are a part of society only. They earn by using the resources of society, so they must do something for the societies also. Now, here are the main social objectives of organization. First is safeguard environment. So here the organization should use environmental friendly methods of production. Second is generate employment opportunities. Here the organization should generate employment opportunities to the weaker section of societies and also who are physically handicapped. Third is welfare of the society. Now, as we know, there are very big organizations who contributes to the society by providing or funding them in their social services like NGOs, etc. Apart from this, there are other social objectives also, such as supply of quality products at reasonable prices, contribution towards desirable civic activities, generation of economic wealth, financial support to the community, organizing educational, health and vocational training programs, etc. So these are some social objectives which is to be achieved by the organization. Now here is the last category of management objectives, which is personal objectives. See, as we know, the employees are the most important resources of every company. We have already discussed in the previous class that the human resources are the most important assets of the company. So it is important to satisfy and motivate the employees so that they can contribute maximum for the organization. So now here are some individual objectives of management. First is financial needs. So financial needs of the employees can be fulfilled by providing them competitive salary and perks. Second is social needs. Now, social needs can be such as peer recognition, self-respect, respect for colleagues, etc. Third is higher level needs. Now, higher level needs can be personal growth and development, and we can also say promotion and training of employees, etc. And apart from this, good and healthy working conditions for the employees should also be provided. As sometimes the workers may also lose their interest in their work when their objectives are neglected. So here management must try to integrate the personal objectives with the organizational objectives. Now the next topic we have is nature of management. So the nature of management can be as art, as science, and as profession. Some authors has regarded management as science because there are well tested and experimented principles of management. Some authors have described management as an art because more practice is required in management. And some authors have considered that management is going towards the path of profession. Now, to conclude whether the management is science, art, or profession, we must understand the features and meaning of science, art, and profession and compare them with the management meaning and features. So, first we have management as a science. As we know, science is totally based on logically observed findings, facts, and events. So, here are some main characteristics or features of science. First is systematized body of knowledge. See, as we know, if we want to acquire the knowledge of science, there is always an organized and systematic study material available which is used to acquire this knowledge. Now, similarly, like science, in management also, there is availability of systematic and organized study material. So, if we want to study about management, we have an organized and systematic study material based on acquiring the knowledge of management. So, this feature of science is present in management. So, we can say management is a science because it has systematized body of knowledge. Second is principles based on experimentation. So, as scientific principles are developed through observations and then they are tested through repeated experiments. Similarly, management principles are also developed through observation and experiments. But the difference is in science, the experiments are done on objects and we get the same reaction from all the objects. But in management, the experiments are done with human beings and we know the human behavior cannot be accurately predicted. So this feature of science is partially present in management. So management can be called as inexact science. Now, third is universal validity. So scientific principles have universal application and validity, but management principles are not exact like scientific principle. So their application and use is not universal. As we have already studied in the feature of management, management is dynamic. So they have to be modified according to the given situation. By this we can say this feature of science is not present in management. So the conclusion is, on comparing the features of science with management, we find that one feature of science is present in management, which is systematized body of knowledge, whereas two are not present. One is partially present, and which is principles based on management, and the third, which is universal validity, it is not present in management. Now, next we have management as an art. So art can be defined as systematic body of knowledge which requires skill, creativity and practice to get perfection. So by art we mean skill, creativity and practice. The main features of art are: first is existence of theoretical knowledge. See, if we want to acquire theoretical knowledge of the art, there are systematic and organized study material available to acquire this knowledge. Similarly, in management also, there is systematic and organized body of knowledge available which can help in acquiring the managerial studies. So we can say that this feature of art is present in management also. Second is personalized application. So just like in art, in management also, a manager applies his acquired knowledge in a personalized and unique manner, and he is involved in the activities of the organization. He studies the critical situations and he formulates his own theories for use in given situation. So this gives rise to different styles of management. So we can say that this feature of art is also present in management. Now last is based on practice and creativity. So here, as we know, the artist requires regular practice of art to become more fine and perfect. Without practice, the artists lose their perfection. In the same way, with experience, managers also improve their managerial skills and efficiency. So this feature of art is also present in management. So by concluding this, we can say on comparing the features of arts with management, we find all the features of art are present in management. So we can call management as an art of getting the things done by other. Now, last we have management as a profession. So by profession we mean an occupation backed by specialized knowledge and training in which entry is restricted. So here we'll be studying the main features of profession. First is well-defined body of knowledge. Now in every profession, there is a practice of systematic body of knowledge which helps the professionals to gain specialized knowledge of that profession. Similarly, in case of management also, there is systematic body of knowledge available where a large number of books are available on management studies. So we can say this feature of profession is present in management also. Second is restricted entry. Now, the entry to a profession is restricted to an examination or degree. You cannot enter into a profession without any degree or examination. For example, a person can practice as doctor only when he is having MBBS degree. Whereas there is no legal restrictions on appointment of a manager. In management, there is no legal restriction for the appointment of manager. Anyone can become a manager irrespective of the educational qualification. But as now, many companies prefer to appoint managers only with MBA degree. So presently, this feature of profession is not present in management, but very soon it will be included with the statutory backing. Next is professional association. All the professions are affiliated to a professional association which regulates the entry or grants the certificate of practice and formulates and enforces a code of conduct. So we can say all the professions are associated by some professional association or professional body. For example, doctors have to get themselves registered with Medical Council of India, lawyers with Bar Council of India. But in case of management, there are various management associations that are set up at national and international level which have some membership rules and set of ethical codes. For example, AIMA in New Delhi, National Institute of Personal Management at Kolkata, but legally it is not compulsory for managers to become a part of these organizations by registration. So by this we can say that this feature of profession is not present in management. Next is ethical code of conduct. So all the professions are bound by a code of conduct which guides the behavior of its member. For example, all the doctors take the oath of ethical practice at the time they enter the profession. Like the doctors are said that they are not supposed to share the details of their patients. So these are some ethical code of conduct which have to be followed by all the professionals engaged in profession. So we can say this feature of profession is not present in management, because in management there are no ethical code of conduct to be followed. And the last is service motive. So the basic motive of profession is to serve their client's interest by rendering dedicated and committed service, whereas the main motive of management is to maximize the profit. So there is a difference between the objective of both profession and management. So we can say that presently this feature of profession is not present, but soon it will be included. So on comparing the features of profession with the management, we can conclude that presently all the features of profession are not present in management, but very soon, maybe by the next decade, these will be included in management. So at last we can say management is on the path of becoming a profession. So in this session, we have learned about the importance of management, also the objectives of management and nature of management. In the next session, we'll be studying about some other topics of the same chapter. That's all for today. Thank you.